You're welcome back. It's still Daybreak here on Trust TV. It's good to have you join us back for our newspaper review. We'll be taking a look at Daily Trust now. Starting off with Daily Trust, boldly in front. Federal government makes peace move to Niger Republic. Chuga meets with country's delegation in Niamey. On the top left, CPC group affirms loyalty to APC, Tinubu amid defection speculations. Filling stations yet to adjust as Dangote reduces petrol price again. Still on Daily Trust, EFCC launches manhunt for CBEX promoters, vows to recover investors' money. Villages flee as gunmen attack Benue communities again, and Boko Haram kills 6 in attacks on Adamawa communities. 2027 will avoid any vehicle that guarantees good governance, says Atiku. 36 cows killed, 42 poisoned in Plateau as governor bans night grazing. And Dejas, you see the picture there of the Nigerian Foreign Affairs Minister there with the Republic of Niger Foreign Affairs Minister as well in Niamey yesterday, where they had necessary discussions on bilateral ties and relations. Alright, that is on Daily Trust. Do also grab yourself a copy and keep yourself informed. Right, now moving on to Guardian. There on Guardian, on national headcount, insecurity concerns trail Tinubu's push for fresh census. You'd see a pictorial there describing why it's needed and every other details in it. Suspend France trip to address insecurity, Obi tells Tinubu. Federal government, World Bank in fresh $17 billion poverty reduction deal, and Dangote crashes prices by 30 naira per litre, refines 3.5 billion litres in 7 months. Fresh killings in Benue community claims 10, and REA Lagos to replace over 4 million generators with rooftop solar. Lukman alleges PDP governors aiding Tinubu as Atiku intensify coalition agenda. Still on Guardian, reps summoned sole administrator as Rivers women demand end to emergency rule. Federal government launches plan, approves 15 billion to curb flood disasters. Don't lose faith in democracy, INEC chairman tells African youths. And those are the stories you have on Guardian. Do well to grab yourself a copy and keep yourself informed. Alright now back to the studio where we have Nasir Lawal, who, before we get into the studio, let's take a look at Nation. Boldly there on Nation, Masai Almakura Adamu, others will remain with Tinubu. CPC bloc won't quit APC. We align ourselves fully with the economic and governance reforms being undertaken by the president. PDP governors can't stop coalition train, says Atiku. APC takes control of Edo Assembly with 15 members to PDP's 9. Still on Nation, why NBA should refund 300 million naira reversed by Banu Abebewa. Inside CBEX 1.3 trillion Ponzi scam. Alright, EFCC steps in and Dangote cuts petrol pumpers 890 naira. President gives NPC 3-week deadline on census reports. These are the stories we have on the Nation. Do also grab yourself a copy and keep yourself informed. So joining us this morning to take a look at some of the headlines and stories we have, Nasir Lawal. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always an honor to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right, we've spoken severally about the relationship between Nigeria and Niger and how important it is to maintain that relationship. And it's obvious the government has listened and they've taken steps forward to see how they can breach that relationship, especially when it comes to cross-border security, cross-border businesses, and bilateral trade talks. What do you make of this Nigeria going to make peace with Niger? Do they extend this hand to Mali and Burkina Faso and think of bringing it to ECOWAS as well?
Well, maybe we should concentrate on Niger Republic for now, because I know that Mali and Burkina Faso are also important, being members of the ECOWAS, former ECOWAS bloc. But for Niger Republic, it's a different ballgame altogether, because between Nigeria and Niger, I think we have about a border that stretches, around 1,600 kilometers or so. I think 7 states, share border with Niger Republic. I think Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, Jigawa, Yobe, and Borno State. They all share, and they have so many cousins across the border. So sometimes whatever happens in Niger Republic, you see so many Nigerians affected by the same thing. And the same thing when it happens to, Nigerians on the border with Niger Republic. And, Niger is quite important when you look at, our security architecture. There has always been this feeling among Nigerian authorities that the country has been used over time by all these merchants of violence, those that are bringing weapons from Libya, and other destabilized nations. So already Niger has left the multinational joint task force, which is quite a setback, and you can see with the resurgent attacks that we are experiencing with Boko Haram. So it will be good, if we can get them back on board. So I think what the minister did, or what Nigeria did, is a step in the right direction. Maybe after, the success of this one, we can now consider extending it to Mali and then Burkina Faso, because Nigeria being like, the biggest country in the West African sub-region, we have so many ways, that will be affected, like the tariff that the Alliance of Sahel states, that they introduced, it will affect Nigeria, our traders and what have you. So let's finish with Niger Republic for now, and then we see how we can, take it further, accommodate them.
All right, now, CBEX yesterday and the past 2 days, everybody have been talking about Ponzi scheme in Nigeria and how people keep on falling victim to it. As a matter of fact, we had someone who was a victim calling on the show yesterday to narrate his ordeal and the steps he took to see if he could get his money recovered. Now, let's not forget that EFCC had published a list of potential Ponzi schemes and Ponzi operators in Nigeria, warning people about it. Still yet people went ahead to invest in CBEX among others. Now EFCC has stepped in and saying that they would ensure that the promoters and the investors get their money back. Now, what do you make of this Nigerians' attitude of constantly falling for Ponzi scheme year in, year out? Someone said if PBEX come out, people will still go for it. What's your take on that?
Well, actually, that's the problem we are having. Some are attributing it to poverty and what have you, but I see it more as lack of trust in the government and its institutions, because like you said, EFCC had published a number of all these Ponzi schemes, but people thinking that they will be able to make some money. Some will even tell you that before they think of going away, I must have made my money, so I can still go into it, despite all the dangers and what have you. But still, EFCC still has a responsibility, to not to allow operators of this scheme, to operate in the country, because that's the responsibility that they have. Because, like we all know, Nigerians are, some of us are quite greedy. You don't spend money and you want to get money. You just put 10 naira and you are expecting 200 naira. So because of that, we become vulnerable to all these Ponzi scheme operators. So that's basically the problem. So we shouldn't just blame the people that they have failed. We should also look at the authorities that have a role to play in this, so that those who lost money will find a way of recovering at least some of it.
Indeed, regulation has been spoken about a lot on this. Now let's come to something that has been making headlines and people have been talking about it, the coalition talk. PDP is saying they are not part of it, but you still find some of their members going for this meeting. CPC is coming out to say we are fully behind Tinubu. And then, there are so many things playing out towards the election. What do you make of all that is playing out, all the policies that is playing out?
Well, we are, headed for quite an interesting time, because from what I can see, maybe the days of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar in the PDP are numbered. Because he is talking about the necessity of having a coalition to face the ruling party, and then here are the governors of the PDP coming out to say that no, we are not ready for any coalition. Whoever wants to join us can join us, but we cannot surrender our platform and go and join parties that are not even known in Nigeria, because we have like 11 or so governors, we have so many senators, we have so many lawmakers at the state and the federal level. So why should we be the ones looking for others to come and join us? Rather, it should be the other way. Other parties should find their way to the PDP. But like I said, honestly, I don't think Atiku, from all indications, he has interest in running in 2027. So I don't think PDP is going to be the platform for him. So going forward, probably with the SDP and the things that people are talking about, we may see him, dumping the PDP, eventually. But for the CPC, it's also interesting the fact that former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, recently said that all the CPC members that are siding with Tinubu are actually, he actually called them in unprintable names. But the fact is, just like he has the right to dump the CPC, they also have the right, to remain within that same fold and, advance their own interest. So it's like a win for the president, because the CPC, as far as Nigerians are concerned, the Al-Makura faction or the Al-Makura bloc are the ones that have the upper hand, because at least Al-Makura was the only CPC member, that got elected as a governor in Nasarawa State, when all the others, remain mere aspirants, and candidates. So I think it's a win for the president. The fact that, this bloc that made up the APC, is now siding with him, coming out to say that, no, we are affirming our loyalty to the president and the party.
All right, now let's move away from politics. We've had that conversation through the day. Let's talk about the petroleum sector. I would say it's been impressive that it's been quiet for a couple of days since the Naira for crude deal was concluded. But now we're seeing it back in the news saying that filling stations are yet to reflect, the drop in price, as Dangote has dropped the cost of petroleum to 890 Naira per litre. Is this expected? Do you really see the prices coming down?
Well, the way oil business operates, you pay ahead of time. So probably they are yet to, dispense with the old stock that they have, which they bought in quite, expensive, which is more expensive than the current one. So I expect Nigerians to give them some time. Even when Dangote did it the first time, if you remember, he had to pay, I think, MRS and other filling stations. He had to take care of the difference so that they will not lose their money. So Nigerians will just give them some time, because you don't expect me to buy, fuel maybe 1,000 Naira a litre, and then because now it's 863, you expect me to just start selling it in that new amount without, recouping my own, the money that I invested in it. So it's good that we are having this conversation, that the prices are coming down, partly because, developments around the globe, are forcing the prices to come down. But Nigerians will give all these oil marketers, some time, so that at least they can, dispense with the old stock before coming to the new one. If truly what they said, that Nigerians are consuming, that amount of 40-something million barrels a day and what have you, then we should be thinking of, having a new price within maybe 2-3 days.
2-3 days, indeed. I like the positivity you're bringing to it. Now, quickly before we go, 2 quick topics I'd love us to touch on. First, on census. It's not the first time we're seeing President Buhari spoke on census. We even saw it nearly happen. Tinubu is doing the same move. We know we're long overdue. What do you make of the steps that they are making but not actually actualizing the census happening at the long run? Is it more political than it is any other factor?
Yeah, it's political, it's religious, it's all sorts of differences, because I remember the last time they said, okay, we should do the census without mentioning religion, without mentioning ethnicity. Well, fine and good. What stops us from doing it? We still couldn't do that. But because Nigerians, I don't think we even need to consider doing census the way we are doing it, because it's something that we can do without even shutting down the whole country, because that's the idea that Nigerians have, that once it is time for census, maybe they give public holidays so that people will remain at home, and then they will come and be counted and all that. Honestly, we shouldn't be looking at it that way. If really we are comfortable in the biometrics that we are currently having, we should have an idea, and that idea should give us the chance, the opportunity to push through with this census without spending much money, because right now we have so many people that have been captured in one way or the other, either through the banks, through the voting system and what have you. Driver's license and so many things. But before you know it, I know some will say, all those have been bastardized. You see people having voters card in like 3 different states and what have you.
All right, let's touch a bit on insecurity. We have less than 2 minutes to go. Quickly, we're seeing what's playing out in Benue, in Plateau. We see Boko Haram having a field day. What's your take on the level of insecurity and the killings that are happening in the country? I'd love to get your thoughts briefly on that.
Well, my biggest concern, is the fact that, this thing has happened, and then it keeps happening without us seeing the government coming in to stop to arrest the situation. Honestly, it doesn't give confidence, to the people. And then I also don't like the way we are, trying to give the thing one form of identity or the other, because we are talking about lives.
Yes.
And once you start talking about lives, just forget about any other thing, because we all have our loved ones, we all have, people that care about us and what have you. But once we start saying so people, a time will come that we will see that the attackers are people like us.
Indeed.
So what will we say when we are faced with situations like that?
It's sad. For every time I see it, the value of a human life raises question. Yeah. But I wish we could take more. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of this segment. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always good to have you on the show with us. Thanks once more.
Thank you for having me.
And to our listeners, we've come to the end of the show. We're just having a chat with Nasir Lawal, editor-in-chief, Dateline newspaper, where we're looking at stories that made it to the front pages of our daily. So go well to grab yourself a copy and keep yourself very much informed and updated with the things that are happening in the country. On behalf of the production crew, my name is Liliana Gazi. Bye for now.